Houston-based attorney Tony Busby has just announced how he is filing charges against Diddy for sexual misconduct against more than 100 minors in a new lawsuit.
We intend to name people in these lawsuits. We're not going to do it in interviews. We're not going to do it, without doing our due diligence, because obviously, these types of allegations are very hurtful to people if they're not true, and very hurtful, frankly, if they are true. But if they're true, you shouldn't have been in the room and you shouldn't have been participating. So I anticipate that we're going to start filing lawsuits, and it may not be big names at first, but we have a long list of names. And you might imagine in situations like this, that when a victim tells us that this person was in the room or this person participated, we want to do as much due diligence as humanly possible before we file that case. Because in the United States, in almost every state, public filings are in fact public. And when you name somebody in a lawsuit, the press is going to pick it up, and we're aware of that. So we're going to make sure that we dot our I's and cross our T's. And I expect that there will be some people named in these lawsuits that will raise some eyebrows.
Diddy has been named as the principal suspect in at least 15 new lawsuits in the last week alone, with some of these lawsuits alleging that Diddy was involved in the rape of minors younger than 10 years old. The lawsuit, which was filed on the 29th of October, claims that back in 2005, a member of Diddy's team provided the alleged 10-year-old minor with a soda that had been drugged with G or X. The boy began feeling disoriented, and it was then, the suit alleges, that Diddy coerced him into a sexual act before he lost consciousness.
Another instance, another minor, told allegedly by Sean Combs that he would make him a star, but he needed to visit with him in private about it, away from his parents. Once they were in a private area, allegedly Mr. Combs made the victim perform oral sex upon him. Another incident, an individual 15 years old at the time, flown to New York City to attend a party, was drugged and then taken into a private room, allegedly in the presence of Mr. Combs, where this female individual, minor, was raped, and then other individuals took turns. Another individual, 26 at the time of the occurrence, was picked up allegedly by Mr. Combs and several other people in a black SUV from the airport, was given one drink in the SUV, and then literally woke up the next day not knowing what had happened, but with pain and damage to both her vagina and her anus, where she then went to the hospital. She was missing her underwear and her shoes. Another instance, an individual, this time not a minor, attended a group dinner, allegedly with Sean Combs in Miami. She wasn't drinking because she was pregnant, but whatever she drank at the table, apparently, at least according to her, was laced with something. She blacked out, and she woke up in the same bed, again allegedly, with Mr. Combs in his mansion in Miami. Her vagina and her anus were torn and sore.
We already know that Diddy used G in his freak-offs, so it makes sense that this was what he was using to lure kids during the early auditions too. Just look at what Gene Deal said about the situation.
They left people there, but they ain't leave not one bottle. Nobody needed no baby oil. So my whole thing about it is that there was something in that other than baby oil. That's why they took all the bottles. And 9 times out of 10, if I would give it a wild guess, it was, and like some of the people told me, it was probably that G. It's gamma hydroxy butyric. What is its effect on the body? It's a euphoria, drowsiness, decreased anxiety, and memory impairment. It works on the nervous system and gives you this feeling of euphoria. So they take that and rubbed it on her, and you forget who you are, what you're doing. It can also give you memory loss. drowsiness. And that's under the DEA, the Enforcement Administration.gov.
Some of the biggest names in Hollywood are involved in the cover-up of what is turning out to be the worst abuse scandal since the arrest of Harvey Weinstein and Jeffrey Epstein. According to Judge Joe Brown, a Tennessee criminal court judge, and a former arbiter of the reality court show Judge Joe Brown, the entire situation around Diddy makes him think that there are bigger names and much more powerful names involved, which he believes will be revealed shortly.
How you feel about the situation that Diddy in?
Let's say this. Something else is going on. They searched with a warrant his premises on the West Coast, right? They searched his premises on the East Coast in Florida, right? On the same property that the premises was located that they searched in Florida, he had a second mansion. They didn't touch that one. Why not? And when they walk out of there, they got a small trash bag and they have a medium-sized cardboard box. What was it they seized that would fit into those items? I have a sneaking suspicion from my background in criminal defense that what they seized was some evidence that was very incriminating to other people. Now, after they seized the evidence, they had no probable cause to arrest him on any crime. He hasn't been indicted. They talked to him at an airport before he got on a private jet to fly to an island that has no extradition agreement with the United States. Have you heard anybody trying to prosecute him?
Not at all.
So what did they do? See, the feds are interesting. Who served the search warrant?
Homeland Security.
Now, what the hell do they have to do with that? That's a FBI mandate.
P. Diddy, the whole thing is exposing the music industry, right? And what's the height of the music industry? Rolling Stone? I mean, like, that's
they're just. It used to be a great magazine.
They used to be the real. It's all corrupt ass
They used to be a
shit.
great magazine, and they got hijacked by a bunch of young morons.
Well, that's what happened to Vice. I had Shane Smith on from Vice, the same thing.
He was amazing.
It's the same thing. He lost everything, dude.
Why?
Everything.
What
Because
happened?
Vice went bankrupt.
He used to be my neighbor. I used to see him
It
every
went
day.
bankrupt over a sexual harassment.
No,
thing, right?
nay,
No.
sir.
Or was
The ratings crashed to the floor. They went woke, went broke. It's the best
Why'd they
example
do
ever.
that?
Is it really a conspiracy theory that more powerful people were involved with Diddy when it has already been proven that Diddy used to invite presidents and even British royalty to his parties? There are pictures of both Obama and Trump at Diddy's parties, and we already know that what happened at Diddy's parties was illegal by his own admission. If someone who has connections to presidents goes down, how many people are taking down with him?
I appreciate y'all. Thank you. And I just want to say how much I appreciate Puff Daddy for doing the kinds of work that he's doing, because he doesn't have to do this. But this is part of what is important about giving back.
We applaud you, and I want to apologize for not sweating, but I do this so much. I'm so cool. I just want y'all to see everybody I'm interviewing is sweating. I'm not even touching my brow. I'm so cool, and I want to apologize. I ain't trying to make you look bad or nothing like that, but I'm just so cool. We
T-shirt. I tell you, if he was wearing one of those fancy designer clothes he's designing, he'd be sweating just like me.
It truly is about the Benjamin, as we see. Oh, yes, he's glittering. It truly is about the Benjamin. Well, now, when we come back, we're going to talk more with Puffy, and if you want to hang out, more than welcome to stick around, my brother. All right? We'll be right back with more right after this.
Hey, everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
Gene Deal Diddy's ex-bodyguard has also talked about just how many people were linked to Diddy. According to him, some of the biggest producers, politicians, actors, artists, and even athletes were all involved with Diddy, but they're all staying quiet now because of what Diddy has on them.
They saw what he did to Cassie. With the kicking, the punching. They saw what they did to Cassie. They know that nobody in America liked that. So now, these people are represented by a brand. Whether it's something about the music, clothing, movies. They're not gonna come out and speak on nothing that has anything to do with them. And they praying that they not on the tape doing crazy stuff, being oiled up in the whole 9 yards. They praying. So until the feds say, hey, yo, listen here. we got you on, hey buddy, we got you on this tape, and girl looked like she was pretty young. We're not gonna show it, but we need you to come and testify against Brother Love, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, you know, Sean Combs. That's when they're gonna start talking. And they're not gonna be talking in his favor. When the feds come to them and show them what they got on tape, because if he had 250 tapes all over, 250 cameras all over the house, somebody got caught stealing a cookie out the cookie jar. It could be your favorite pastor. It could be your favorite politician. But they didn't think they was being watched, and Brother Love was watching.
Gene Deal has even named some of the people that he personally witnessed being around Diddy, and mentioned that he knows that they're worried now. They know that Diddy recorded everything now, and even according to the FBI, more than 400 hours of footage were recovered from Diddy's mansion, and now everyone is saying that this footage will implicate pretty much every big name in Hollywood.
So, Ashton Kutcher, he has a right to be kind of alarmed if he was doing things with Diddy. Remember they used to have that group called the what do they call it? The Brat Pack? With Diddy, him, and a couple other guys was hanging out. Leonardo, one other guy too, I forgot the other guy's name. So, they all might be worried.
For him to come out with that comment, I mean, that is suspect. It sounds like he's worried that Diddy might give up some information.
That's why. That's why he made that statement. To set it up. To set up the atmosphere that, yo, this guy's gonna lie on us. This guy ain't gonna tell the truth on us. But what we know is that wherever Diddy went, his tape recorders went. His camera equipment was working. He was videotaping everything. So they might have that videotape already.
Recently, in an episode of the Joe Rogan podcast with comedian Andrew Schulz, Joe Rogan talked about how Diddy isn't working alone, and it's entirely possible that this is a cover-up to recover footage that might incriminate bigger and more powerful. We already have an idea of who these people might be. Jay-Z's ex-backup singer Jaguar Wright has mentioned how Jay-Z was directly involved in the abuse that Diddy was carrying out. And not only were both Jay-Z and Beyonce complicit, but they actually contributed and helped Diddy abuse the people that he was taking advantage of.
Why there's no vindication for me? Because for 4 years, I've been screaming, not just Diddy, but Diddy and Jay-Z are monsters. And the victim-making machine kept going on.
Jay-Z has been notable by his silence since these charges were brought against Diddy. Why do you think that is?
Because that's what he does. He starts little fires everywhere, forces everyone involved to go and carry water while he sneaks away without a response. That changes now, Sean. You must respond. You have no choice. Harvey Weinstein, Jeffrey Epstein, Robert Kelly, Sean Combs have one person in common, professionally and privately. Sean Carter. This has been a fist of tyranny that has been punching through our culture and our society for decades. It must stop.
There's been obviously a lot of
cruelty-free artistry.
Right, there's been a lot of rumor mill about what has happened in the rap world. A lot of allegations that the misogyny in the lyrics clearly was based on a general misogyny towards women away from the music, and that clearly seems to have been borne out by these charges against Diddy, which if he's found guilty of all this, he's never coming out of prison. How dangerous do you think?
Thank God.
How dangerous do you think he is as a person?
I think he's one of the most dangerous people I've ever met. A lot of people have been questioning, well, she doesn't really know him. She has no knowledge of him. She doesn't have a picture with him. I'm smarter than Claudia Jordan. I would never take a picture with the devil. Everyone knew he was the devil. He's been the devil for 30 years. He's been covered and protected by not only Clive Davis, but Lucian Grange. He was selected to be the demon that he is, to keep the culture in line so the industry could continue to rip it for all of its precious jewels. We have too many lost. The list of lost is ridiculous, and everyone knows Diddy was selected for this job.
Another celebrity that has been named in connection with P. Diddy is no other than his ex-girlfriend, Jennifer Lopez. If you look at the timeline of when Diddy was dating JLO, you can clearly see that it matches the reported abuse that Diddy did at the time. J-Lo and Diddy were even involved in a shooting back in 1999. The shooting, which resulted in the death of one person and another person, Natanya Rubens, getting shot in the face, never resulted in any arrests, even though both J-Lo and Diddy fled the scene. Allegedly, this was what led to J-Lo breaking up with Diddy, as it was her gun that was used in the shooting.
When they ask you those questions, which I found out later to be neurological questioning to make sure that you're aware and that you have some level of reasoning. And he's like, what's your name? How old are you? Can you tell me what happened? And I said, Puffy shot me in my face. This man testified. I testified in the criminal trial. This man testified in the criminal trial.
All Jennifer Lopez had to do was marry a white boy, Oscar winner, for people to stop remembering that she had a gun in her pocketbook. She had gunshot residue on her hands the night that Natanya was shot at that club. For all we know, that bullet came from the gun that was in her hand. And not once has she spoken up for the betterment of that woman. Not once has she donated to her family or for her medical bills that she's still paying, or say something in her defense to stop Puffy from gaslighting her and trying to put hits out on her because he was afraid that maybe one day they would open the case and she still has the bullet fragments in her face. Like J-Lo has said nothing. Nothing. You really thought that just running off and marrying Ben Affleck was going to take you out of the Diddy downfall? But it saved her the first time, though, didn't it? Because as soon as that club was over and as soon as they finished interrogating her, when she sat there and cried like a baby, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to go to jail. Benny Medina put her with that drunk white boy until she ran him off. Like, there are people sitting here screaming out at the toll that the atrocities that Sean Combs has done to their lives, and you're trying to avoid your part in the story or the fact that you never spoke up. You know, you want to tell people on the low and put it out there that the movie was about you getting away from Puffy, but you didn't think about the trail of girls that you left behind. What happens to Cassie if J-Lo had said something to Diddler back then? Would Cassie have ever been a victim? Answer me that. Because that situation happened in the late 90s. That situation happened before Aaliyah passed away, and Aaliyah passed away in 2001. He didn't get with Cassie until 2009, 15 years after he was with Jennifer. If she had to come forward about the abuse she suffered in a relationship with Sean Combs, Cassie would never have gone through what she's gone through. J-Lo being a stand bitch is Cassie not getting punted in a fucking hallway.
Natanya is allegedly so shaken up by the encounter and sure that it was Diddy who shot her that she is willing to have the bullet fragment in her head taken out. so Diddy can be implicated in the shooting.
Supporters of Sean Diddy Combs have come forward since our interview with Natanya Rubin, and you remember we talked to her. She says that Diddy is the one who shot her at that club. But the supporters are now saying that Diddy didn't even want to take a plea deal in the 1999 club shooting because he was, quote, so sure of his innocence. They also said that information from someone who is claiming things that aren't true, who's looking for a payday. They said payday is not going to change that. Natanya Rubin joins us once again now. Natanya, we appreciate your time again. First of all, I want to know your reaction to these people now around Diddy who are coming out in support of him, saying that he was so sure of his innocence and that that's the reason he didn't take a plea deal in the case that you were involved in where you got shot.
So first and foremost, Brian, thank you for having me back on. And I give very little credibility to what they're saying because while everyone else is Monday morning quarterbacking, I am the survivor. And it is my assertion wholeheartedly that Mr. Combs was inappropriately charged originally. His charges should have mirrored that of Mr. Jamal Shine Barrow. He should have been charged with attempted murder, a reckless endangerment, criminal possession of a weapon, and firing that weapon in an open environment.
And you bring up Shine. One of the questions that I've gotten several times since the last time we spoke to you is that people want to know whether you believe that Shine was convicted of a crime he didn't commit because he is the one who ultimately...
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Jamal Shine Barrow admitted on the Combat Jack podcast back in the days, rest in peace to Combat Jack, he admitted that he fired his gun and shot Julius Jones in the shoulder. Mr. Combs did not have accountability for what he did. I physically... Who better to tell you what happened than the person who got shot smack dab in between my eyes?
Back then, Natanya, do you feel like they had made up their mind about who they were going to blame for this before they even talked to you, or?
Listen, here's what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. Respectability politics. He was a notable figure. He was a multimillionaire. He had popularity, fame, all of a perfect storm of you get away with it. We know the country we live in. Unfortunately, those who have the money can oftentimes get away with their crimes. Unfortunately, and those who don't have the same social ranking are overlooked. And that's what has happened. By the grace of God, God saw fit to keep me whole, keep my mind sane and functioning, and keep me alive for such a time as this. And make no mistake, the gravity of the danger and the peril that I face and that I'm exposed to for having my say now, for what was done to me 24 years ago is not lost on me. But let me make clear beyond a shadow of a doubt, I am not now, nor have I ever been swayed. I love life, and I'm grateful that God spared my life back on that fateful day on December 27th, 1999. I'm a living miracle.
Yeah, you are
And
clearly
so,
a very...
anything,
Sorry to interrupt you, but you are a very strong woman. I mean, that is very clear. And you have done your research, and you deserve to have your voice heard, which is one of the reasons.
And I think it's important for me to say I'm a healthy woman. I live a simple, quiet, risk-averse life. So if I should meet with an untimely demise, it would require and be worthy of deep investigation. I understand the peril of what I am exposing my life to.
Gene Deal has talked about how he thinks people are going to flip on Diddy now. Actual footage that shows him his girlfriend Cassie has come out, and with all the people that Diddy blackmailed now having a shot at revenge, there's a good chance that they will start to speak out.
What you gotta say now? What you gotta say now? You ain't got to say when you put your girl on the snap.
Do you think Diddy can come back from this? Because a lot of people saying it's over for him.
Oh, it is over for him. Come back to where? To be in the entertainer business? Listen to me, man. And I don't want to bring this guy's story up because it's old. And I know he's trying to live past it, but I'm going to bring it up anyway. Ray Rice, his wife, spit in his face. And he did what he did on that elevator. He ain't played one football game after that. Nowhere that I know of. He may have went overseas and played or something like that. I don't know that to be true. But he didn't play in the NFL, a hell of a running back. He ain't played not one down in the NFL after that. No endorsements, nobody's going to have anything to do with old boy. And when they come out with this other stuff, he gonna come back to work. I wouldn't be surprised if he do the ultimate sin. Because bruh, he's such a narcissistic that he couldn't stand not being somewhere and not being seen. His whole life, his whole career was about him being seen in the public. It was about him, you know, taking everybody else's dreams and making them his. And now, him nor his kids would profit from anything from Bad Boy or Sean Puffy Combs again. His kids is gonna suffer behind this.
Wow, man, that's crazy to hear, man. And you knowing Diddy, you think it's a good chance he might take his life?
He was talking about taking his life at the City College thing. Yo, D. Ferg, ASAP Ferg's father, say, yo, man, we gotta watch him, man. This nigga talking about killing himself. I say, so let him. If you're that weak, I said, let him. And he said, Eugene, why you say that? I said, man, listen to me, man. He ain't no good to nobody if he talking about hurting himself. His life don't belong to him. His life belong to God. What he should be trying to do right now is work his way towards God now, for real, and not that devil he been worshiping. That those people got him believing, you understand, that's the true God. Because everything from what I know, since I've been around him, you know, everything that's going forward has been that of the devil. The alcohol, the partying, everything has been of the devil. And he's been leading not only himself, our people, into some kind of damnation through his actions.
As more names are implicated, fans are left questioning who else could be involved, and if this will be the turning point that finally brings accountability to the industry's biggest players. Will justice be served, or will the powerful continue to evade it? Only time will tell, so stay tuned as we continue to bring you the latest on this unfolding case.